Are those my little waveforms? They're so cute.
Yeah, you've got everything about you's cute, even your waveforms when you talk. See, I told you had a great voice. The waveforms prove it.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast where I read cheap, filthy books and then trap my husband behind a microphone so he has to listen to me tell them about him for an hour.
It's more of a Stockholm syndrome than anything. I'm not physically... I am physically trapped by my recording setup, but... I am not trapped by you unless this is how you do it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I can't. I have to climb over the couch.
Yeah, no, you're stuck there
to get out of here. You should take a photograph. Can you take a photograph?
Yeah, sure.
Of this recording setup. So this photograph we'll post on the socials, and you'll see what it looks like when we're actually recording it, and then you look at that picture while you're listening to us describe it. And it will be so meta.
Yep, I got it.
Great.
We're good.
So, yeah.
You got 2 tray tables going right now.
2 tray tables, my audio interface, my laptop with our digital audio workspace.
This picture makes it look like our house is really big and really nice. It's not.
I mean, it's
big, but it's not nice. It's covered in clutter because children.
It's fine.
Oh no, I'm not apologizing.
It's fine. It's fine. It's got carpet in the kitchen. It's got carpet in the bathroom.
Yes, it absolutely does.
It's got carpet everywhere. I'm a little hot, I feel like here. There we go. Let me trim that back just a skosh. That's better. My waveform's getting a little too big. How you been?
I've been pretty good. It's been a pretty good week.
Yeah,
all things considered.
He asked like he didn't work from home this week and
spend every day with me. But yeah, things have been good. Let's see. The kids are getting better from their illnesses. The oldest one went back to school this week, so I had a few days where it was just me and the little one. That was nice. I went to Five Below today and bought our children a 4-foot tall inflatable, like silly hammer.
Yeah.
And that's been a really fun thing to have around the house because everybody just keeps getting whacked.
I think the best part is it says blam on it. It has that onomatopoeia on it. But our soon-to-be 5-year-old, who is still learning to read, said, "Daddy, it says blame."
Yep.
And I like it as like it's the blame hammer.
The blame hammer.
Whose fault is this?
Fetch the blame hammer.
Fetch me my blaming hammer.
It's extra funny to see the toddler walking around with it because it's twice as tall as she is. It's hilarious.
But it doesn't have the heft, so she can carry it. So it just looks intimidating.
Yes, and adorable.
Oh, so intimidating, so adorable.
Like the cutest way to die.
Being clubbed to death by a toddler with a cartoonishly large hammer.
Yes.
So
she coos at you the whole time.
I know.
And then when you die, she says, "Bye."
Oh my God, she would.
She would.
Yeah, she would. Let me turn this up here in my ears. There we go. I'm using the new audio interface. Well, not the new audio interface, my other audio interface. So I'm giving you a peek behind the curtain here and letting you know that I hope this sounds okay. I'm sure it'll be fine.
And Carl collects random hobby bits.
I do.
So we have 2 different audio interfaces that have just been chilling in a box.
Well, no, one that's been chilling in a box. The other one I've been using.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But thank you to both the time in my life where I had disposable income to do that and autism.
Yay!
Collecting random hobbies
since
time immemorial. So let's just, you want to get into it and pick up where we left off? Or
how have you been? Do you want to tell me how you've been?
No, I don't, quite frankly. No, I've been great. You know, the other podcast is going well. I made a prediction about the World Baseball Classic that I correctly predicted the World Baseball Classic outcome. So I'm feeling particularly joyful about that. And I'm going to say it on this show because if I say it on the other show, it sounds like I'm gloating.
Yes.
But on this show, no one gives a shit. So it's fine. I've got a work trip coming up, and I'm going to be able to check off another ballpark on my journey to visiting all 30 Major League ballparks.
Yes.
So I will officially be a full third of the way. It will be number 10. Number 10 out of 30.
Yeah, then you got to start getting those West Coast ones.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I've got the East Coast pretty locked down. But otherwise, yeah, I'm great. Sun spit in my eye right before bedtime.
Yes, he did.
That was great.
You're going to get like some horrible 4-year-old eye disease.
To be clear, he didn't just like and like spit in my eye. He does that thing that children like to do where he makes like a weird like or whatever, but he did it like an inch and a half from my face, and I could feel the spittle make contact with like the wet stickiness of my eyeball. So
I don't want to think about that too hard.
But otherwise, I'm great.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear it.
I'm glad to say it. We've been spending out. It's getting. It's like Michigan. It's a Michigan spring now. It's like 40 degrees every day, which is a Michigan pre-summer.
Yep.
Around here,
it'll get wet and muddy.
Yep.
And then the traffic cones will come out, and it will get hot and muggy.
They've got the little things across the main road near where we live up there, and I'm guessing to like gauge like when's the best time to fuck up traffic.
I always wonder what those things are for, and I think you're right. I think they're like to judge how many cars pass over them at various times of day.
Yeah.
But for all I know, they do nothing, and they're just weird wires that they lay across the ground for fun.
I think that's what they're for. Somebody correct us on socials if we're wrong. Speaking of socials, that's where we're going to tell you guys later on what this episode is about. Segue. We're doing part 2 of our episode on Rachel Rener's Inked.
Yes.
The first book in the
Gilded Blood.
Trilogy?
It's a quad. There are 4.
Quadrilogy?
Yeah. Series. At that point, it's just a series.
Yeah. All right. And I'm very excited. I know we've been talking about it throughout the course of the week. And a friend of ours who listens to the show, he said the same thing. He's very invested and very interested. He said he would make an excellent film or television series. And I completely agree. I'd watch the shit out of this.
Absolutely. I would too. It's great. It's a great book. I have deliberately avoided telling you any more of the plot all week long. Which has been killing me slowly.
And I've deliberately ignored you. Just whenever I think you're going to say anything related to it, I just drop what I'm doing and run in the other direction.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that, for not spoiling it for yourself so you can have genuine reactions.
Yes.
So to start off, Inked by Rachel Rener, part 2 of our story. I thought we would do a little bit of a recap, and I asked you earlier if you would be okay with playing a game.
I would. Before we do our game, let us remind our listeners the content warnings for this book include bodily autonomy and discussion of consent.
Consent, yes, and a little bit of CNC, a little bit of consensual non-consent, but mostly autonomy, free will, and consent.
Yes. Okay, so you want to play a little game?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I just want to see how much you remember from last week. So I'm just going to say a few buzzwords, and you just tell me what those things are.
Yes.
All right. Talia.
Our main character, Talia Katzenberg?
Katzenberg, yep.
Katzenberg, our heroine.
Yes. Dee Dee.
Our heroine's mother, Dee Dee Katzenberg.
Yes. Zane.
Talia's hot boss, who also happens to be the last rune master.
Yes. And what else is Zane?
A fae?
An incubus.
Oh, that's right. He's an incubus.
He's a repressed incubus who doesn't like to have sex.
An incubust.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good one. Biscuit.
AKA Biscus. Zane's familiar. He is a beautiful bird who is actually a tattoo.
Yes.
On Zane's person, who thanks to the magical inks that Zane creates.
Yes.
He is able to call forth Biscus.
Yeah.
Or Biscuit.
Biscuit.
His name is Biscus, but Talia calls him Biscuit.
Yes. And Sol and Salen.
Salen is Sol's daughter, and he is basically like the lord of the Fae realm.
Yes. And he came to power
after the Blood Wars.
Yes.
After the summer court and the winter court were destroyed.
Yes. All right. So that's the basis. That's the basics of what we covered last week. Talia is a gilded blood carrier. That means that she has very incredibly rare RH null blood type, which allows her to do any and all magic, as opposed to most Fae who can only do a limited amount of magic with their less special blood types.
Right.
All the magic in this world, in this system, is based on...
We're recording in the dark now.
Blood types.
Is this too much?
Yeah, it's a little much.
I just got tired of that.
I know.
That
We
light
need to replace our panel.
Yeah.
Our lights are flickering right now. But we're going to have to live with it because I can't record in the dark. It's too weird.
That's fair. Please get RH null blood.
Yes. Talia and Zane are currently traveling through the forests of the Fae realm, searching for a very rare flower.
Alabaster aluminium. No,
Delphinium.
Delphinium.
Yes, the alabaster delphinium. And with that alabaster delphinium, Zane will make an ink, which he can then use to tattoo Talia to hide her glowing skin, so that she is no longer under constant threat from the various creatures in the Fae realm and the human realm who will kill her to take her blood to use for their own purposes.
And when we left off last episode, they were attacked by a one-armed, one-eyed, one-legged monster carrying a club with poison barbs, attacked Zane. He was rendered unconscious, so Talia kissed him to try and give him some zhuzh, some mojo. It worked, but he was mad because he couldn't consent. And so now they are traveling. They went to sleep, they woke up, and he was carrying her or something like that.
Yes.
And now they're still in the Fae realm.
Yeah.
They're still traveling.
Yes.
And that's where we're going to
exactly
dive in now.
Yep. All right. So Talia wakes up and Zane is carrying her through the forest in order to keep time, basically, because they have a long way to travel. They're traveling to meet a contact that Zane has, who says that he has seen the alabaster delphinium and can show Zane where it is. So for the rest of the day, Zane and Talia walk through the forest. Their incredibly strained relationship is basically means that they're not talking to do anything other than say the most basic things that need to be said. So Talia spends the day entertaining herself by throwing almonds in the air for Biscuit to dive down and catch. Biscuit, whose name is not Biscus, his name is Hibiscus.
Okay.
Like the flower.
Yeah.
But he can't say hibiscus. He can't say a lot of words, and it's adorable. So he introduced himself as Biscus, which is where Talia got Biscuit from, right? So Biscuit is the sweetest bird. Most of the day, he just plays with her, but he keeps coming down to like tell her that he loves her.
No.
And ask for kisses and scritches. It's just so cute. I can't take it.
Anything for you, Biscuits.
Anything for you, Biscuits. You cute baby. So Talia and Zane are traveling toward a waypoint, which is you're familiar with a fast travel system.
Yeah.
It's a big post in the forest that's got a bunch of runes carved on it. You press the right rune and it takes you to another waypoint. So it's a fast travel station.
That's extremely convenient.
It really is. So Zane goes off to do something. He says he has to go talk to someone or get one more piece of information before they can go to the waypoint to complete their journey. And while he's gone, Talia's having this whole inner freak out thing. She feels she almost pities Zane a little bit. She feels really bad that he's an incubus who does not know love.
Yeah.
And that makes her very sad. So she internally vows to herself that she's not going to abandon this man. Even though things are really hard right now and he's being a shit, she's not going to abandon him.
I would have to imagine, as an incubus, finding true love would have to be difficult because of the nature of your existence. Like, you feed off of sexual energy, which for a lot of people is a major component of a loving relationship. And I have to imagine that would be difficult, like not wanting to, cross that line or feel like you were taking advantage of your lover.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it would be, unless Zane specifically, sought out a sex repulsed asexual who didn't ever want to have sex.
Yeah.
That it would be hard.
Yeah.
It would be hard for him, and he's very lonely. Talia is she's very aware that his entire family is gone. His entire family died in the Blood Wars. He's got nobody. It's been him and Biscuit by themselves for Lord knows how long. They don't really give a time frame of how long it's been since the Blood Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And since there's no indication of how long Faye can live, it could have been hundreds of years ago for all I know.
So they never discuss like how old he truly is.
No.
Okay. It's not important.
It's not. I mean, all I know is that they're both adults. So
yeah.
He could be, if it's like, like Tolkien's elves are thousands of years old, but they still look like 14-year-old boys in Legolas's case.
I don't know how. I can't even imagine. Like, I'm in my 40s, and I just marvel at the idea that I could potentially be alive for another 50 years.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
For the next 50 years?
I don't even. I think about that sometimes. From I'm watching Doctor Who again right now, and the Doctor is at the point that they are the 11th Doctor. They believe they are 950 years old. They're actually hundreds of thousands of years old.
Yeah. Mindful of spoilers.
Yeah. And that's fucking crazy to me. I can't even imagine how your perception of reality would shift if your mortality was extended like that.
That's too much to think about.
It really is.
Let's get back to the easy to understand.
Let's
Zane.
get back to the smut. Yeah, let's get back to Zane. So they make it to the waypoint, and Talia's rune, the rune that Zane gave her to temporarily camouflage her glow, is already failing. So she's freaking out, thinking that she's gonna have to get another one of these tattoos before they even have the chance to find the Delphinium. But in the meantime, they just have to get to this waypoint. They get there. Zane tells her that no matter what you do, just hold on to me, and all will be well. He touches the rune. It starts to glow. Whenever they travel, there's like a big corridor, like a pillar of light. They sort of travel. Like, I imagine that's what you would see when you got beamed up on Star Trek.
Travel by light.
Yes, travel by light. But as they are starting to disappear, some kind of shadow creature attacks out of nowhere and grabs Talia. Zane cuts its hand off.
Well, yeah.
But it's still like grabbing her. Ugh. Gross. And she pushes herself away from this continually attacking disembodied hand, disconnects from Zane, and is pushed out of the beam of light and lands on the side of a cliff. She's on like one of those protruding cliff edges that has like scrub brush on it.
Yeah.
Above a bunch of deadly rocks and the sea of the Fey realm.
Yeah, I see those in a lot of video games that I play.
Yeah.
That's where the cool items that you can easily miss are located.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because you got to like figure out a way to get down there and stuff. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So that's where Talia is right now. I forgot to mention in the last episode that Talia has also had a wardrobe change at some point, because she fell and cut her legs after they were attacked by the Glashtig. Zane has given her a pair of siren skin leggings.
What?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that there is so much. Like, again, like a lot of the games I play, like I can imagine finding that in a Soulsborne game, siren skin leggings, and like there's some major piece of lore buried in the description of the item.
Well, in this case, in this realm, sirens are cursed mermaids, and they are incredibly deadly. They are trapped and skinned for their leather, but also because they're so dangerous that they are like a kill on sight creature,
which is unfortunate.
I know. But like I said, everything in the Fey realm wants to kill you.
Yeah.
Nothing is just there for your enjoyment or for shits and giggles. everything wants to kill you.
So the Fey realm is Australia.
It is psychedelic Australia.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I've been checking the analytics, and nobody in Australia has listened to the show yet. But if you're new to the show and you're listening in Australia, I'm sorry that you live in Australia. You can leave. You don't have to feel endangered.
I'm sure there are lots of lovely things about Australia. Number one, they took all the guns away
They did.
long time ago.
There you go. That is great.
Don't come for me. I have very strong opinions on gun violence in the United States. But anyway, so Talia is on the edge of this cliff, and she looks over the edge, and she sees mermaids sunning themselves on the rocks below. But these mermaids are like the Greek mythology mermaids. They sing people to their doom, and they start to sing her a song to invite her to jump off of the edge. She is completely entranced, as was I, because Rachel Rener wrote this song. She provided a link in her book because it's an ebook. There's links and shit. You can actually hear it, and it's beautiful. I'm not going to play it. Go buy the book. Click the link.
Is there? I would love if there's a way to get that link in the show description. I'll do that.
Oh, if you can, that would be, I think, cool.
Yeah, if I can do that, if I can figure out a way to do that, I'll put it in the show description.
Yeah. So they are singing her this song. It's got lyrics and everything that's all about inviting her to come and be in the ocean with them. And she's zombie walking her way to the edge, and at the very last second she hears her mother's voice screaming in her head. God bless.
Yeah, from even across realms, Dee Dee Katzenberg will get her daughter's attention.
Absolutely, she will. It doesn't matter that there's no 5G in the Fey realm. Dee Dee's right inside Dahlia's brain.
Oh boy, I don't envy that.
So she hears her mother's voice screaming at her to stop. She's in danger, that she needs to go find her Gentile to keep her safe. Talia is so gone on this mermaid song, she doesn't even remember Zayn's name at this point, but she does stop herself before she jumps to her death on the rocks below. However, a gust of wind then picks her up and throws her off the edge anyway.
Even the wind
wants to kill you there. Yes.
Even the wind wants you dead in the Fey realm.
So luckily, because she was picked up and tossed by the wind instead of just stepping right off the edge, she misses the rocks, but she ends up in the water, obviously, because that's what the ocean is made of. And
Science with Katie. Katie's Science Corner.
She is disoriented. She can't find her way up. She thinks she's going to drown, but then something offers to save her life, grabs her hand and offers to pull her to safety in exchange for a vial of her blood. Because she's really just that, like, her blood is just that important.
Yeah.
So she agrees. Her other choice is death.
Yeah.
So she agrees, and she is pulled onto the shore, gets herself oriented, and she is facing down a siren, one of the most dangerous creatures in all of the Fey realm. And again, literally everything wants to kill you there, and even all those things think the sirens are bad. But she has
bad bitches.
Yes, they are dangerous and not to be fucked with, those bitches. But because she has made a deal with this siren, she is not in any danger. The siren wants her blood more than it wants to kill her. So it tosses her a knife. She cuts her hand and drips blood into a vial. Her blood looks like liquid gold, which is cool. And then she corks the vial and tosses it back to the siren. And the siren immediately pulls out another vial of a very dark black liquid, mixes the two together with the tip of the knife, and starts carving a rune into its own body. This vial that's
so fucking metal.
I know, right? God, she's a bad bitch, that siren. This vial, the other vial, the vial of black liquid, is Kraken ink, which is one of the most valuable curse-breaking components in the Fey realm. Talia just watches as this happens. She feels really bad because she's wearing a pair of siren pants. But the siren doesn't really comment on it, thankfully.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, well, Talia did.
If the siren doesn't... Okay, well, yeah. If the siren doesn't notice, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. She watches as this siren carves a rune into her own flesh with and then pours in blood and kraken ink. And then it starts to leave. But before it can go, Biscuit shows up and starts attacking it. And Talia's like, no, stop. She's my friend. She helped me. She saved my life. Stop. So Biscuit pulls back, and the siren kind of looks at her like, I mean, nothing is said here, but I imagine the thought is nobody's ever called me their friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Usually people piss and shit themselves when they see me.
Yeah. And the siren swims away. But Talia swears as it's swimming away that she sees her scales starting to turn green again. So what this siren has done is broken the curse on herself to turn back into a mermaid.
Interesting.
I mean, obviously the mermaids are still murderous, but at least they're not sirens anymore, and they won't be trapped and killed to make leggings.
Right. At least I may be a murderer, but at least I'm not a lunatic siren.
Right.
What is there ever any explanation? I mean, obviously the mermaids are dangerous in their own sort of way, but what makes a siren even worse?
I can't. There's
nothing there.
They don't really say. But I can only imagine that it's sheer viciousness. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't remember much of the description of the siren, but I know that they are ugly creatures.
They lure you to, instead of singing you very enchanting songs, they just
grab you.
They just sing metal. Jump or whatever.
They just snatch you right out of your boat and drag you to the bottom of the ocean and eat your entrails. I don't know.
They don't do you the kindness of a lovely song before you die.
Yeah. So Talia watches the siren swim away, and then she falls and gets a face full of seaweed, like washed up seaweed, because she is still, unfortunately, our lovely, spunky, but very uncoordinated Talia.
Yeah.
And she is helped back up to her feet by a satyr who has just come down to the beach to threaten her because she has a stolen familiar.
First of all, you don't fucking know me, satyr.
But he knows Biscuit, and Talia's like, no, he belongs to my friend. And the satyr's like, oh, great. Well, we have the same friend. This satyr is the contact that knows where the delphiniums are, the one that Talia and Zane were coming to meet before the unfortunate incident at the waypoint moved her, out of the way for a little while.
Now, I totally know what a satyr is, but assuming, let's just say, for example, there's a listener out there who doesn't. I'm kidding. I can't remember. What is a satyr?
A satyr is a man on top, goat on bottom.
Yes. Thank you. That's what I thought. I was imagining Danny DeVito's character from Hercules.
Exactly. Philoctetes from Hercules.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
I assume he's larger. From description, he's approximately the same size as Talia. So I imagined El Fauno, the faun from Pan's Labyrinth.
Of course.
A giant goat man instead of little goat man.
Oh man, we should watch that again soon.
Oh god, it's so good. Pan's Labyrinth is so great.
I was gonna
have to gird my loins for the pale man, and then I'm fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That movie is beautiful though. It's
hell yeah, it is.
Truly beautiful.
GDT baby, Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah. So the satyr, his name is Lambswith.
Okay.
But he encourages her to call him Lamb, which is what I will call him for the rest of this story. Invites Talia and Biscuit back to his house. But Talia sends Biscuit off to find Zane, to tell Zane that she's with Lamb and to come to find her there. He takes her back to his house, and his house is inside of the cliff, like inside the mountain.
That's sick as fuck. I know.
That. And he feeds her and he gives her wine, and they sit and they talk for a little while, and he asks her what she is to Zane and what Zane is to her, because she is unmarked. I don't know if there's like a girlfriend rune or something that she's supposed to have tattooed on her body.
Yeah, he tattooed this rune on me. I don't know what it means. It doesn't have a direct English translation, but I think the closest one I can come up with is it's complicated.
It's complicated rune. Oh my god. While they're talking, Talia is drinking, and she assumes that she'll be fine because, like many a 20-something, her tolerance for wine is pretty darn high.
Yeah.
But she starts to get a little dizzy, a little sleepy, and Lamb, who is a perv, like he's a lascivious little bastard who makes a lot of like creepy kind of comments toward her in that like creepy uncle way, starts leading her to bed. And initially it's under the auspices of getting some sleep because she looks so tired, but then he starts crawling in with her, and like somebody starts knocking on the door, but Talia's a little too out of it, and he just encourages her to be quiet, and they'll just pretend that they're not even there, and then they'll be in the bed together, and it's like, ugh, gross, what is happening right now? But she realizes that she's not really in a good situation, a safe situation right now. She's not comfortable with what's happening, and she realizes that the person knocking on the door must be Zane.
Yeah.
So she shouts for him, and he, I don't know how, blows the fucking door right off.
Wow.
Yeah. And immediately threatens to kill Lamb if he touches even a hair on her head.
Yeah.
So he might be sending mixed signals, but he's still big protector guy.
Yeah. Good. And in that case, yeah, I think that's good because eat shit, Lamb.
Eat shit, Lamb. Yeah. Don't take advantage of drunk girls, even if they don't realize how potent Fey wine is. Don't do that. Don't do that. And you too. Don't do that, listener. Don't take advantage of drunk people. So Talia decides that she's going to get some sleep because they have to wait a couple of hours before they can go and find this flower. And Zane and Lamb are going to sit down and have a meal and have a chat. She falls asleep for a little while, but she wakes up, and Lamb and Zane are talking about her. So she eavesdrops, like you do.
Of course.
And Lamb challenges Zane to define his relationship with her. Why isn't she marked? And a
little sort of a callback to our last book.
Yeah.
With the bite.
With the biting. Yeah. But this is a very different kind of marking. Lamb accuses Zane of just keeping her like as a snack, quote unquote, or for her magic blood. And Zane does not refute that statement.
Bad move, Zane.
Bad move, Zane. But we will get into exactly why now, because this is a big exposition time. Somebody call Ice-T. It's exposition time.
You mean to tell me?
Yeah. So while she's listening in to what Lamb is asking Zane basically says that he finds the marking, the branding, to be a barbaric form of, I don't know, marriage or something. And he also says that if he did mark her, it would be built on one-sided feelings, and that's not fair to her. So she's crushed because she interprets that as meaning she has feelings and he does not.
Okay. So are we? Is what we're hearing here that Zane doesn't realize that she's into him?
No, it's way more complicated than that. But I will explain it as we go. Their conversation is cut short when Biscuit sees Lamb pull out an egg, and Biscuit needs that egg.
Hey, give me that egg.
Like screeching, egg, over and over again, like a parrot would.
Yeah.
He's a parrot. But because he was sitting like on Talia's hip while she was sleeping, when he takes off, he startles her. They obviously know that she is not sleeping, so they don't continue that conversation. So she gets up, and Lamb comments on her clothing. When they first got to his house, he used his magic to dry her off. Like that's whatever kind of magic he has. He dried her, and he also turned her sneakers into stiletto ankle boots, which is just plain rude and pervy.
It's gross, dude.
It's so gross, my God.
First of all, they're not at all practical.
No, they are not.
Especially in the Fey realm.
Exactly. The worst choice. You couldn't give her a nice combat boot? Something with ankle support?
Even a sensible flat.
Something. As long as the top of her feet weren't exposed.
Yeah.
But
nothing open-toed.
After she gets up, Lamb offers her this like armored corset type outfit.
Better.
Yes, for her top, to protect her against the elements when they go back out onto the cliff, because that's where they're going to go to get the delphinium. And she accepts it and puts it on, and now Talia is in full fantasy novel character outfit. She's wearing a corset,
yep.
leggings made out of siren skin, and stiletto ankle boots.
She's going out for a LARP.
Yeah, she is. She's going out for the hottest fucking LARP because she's wearing those boots. I cannot stress enough how impractical it is to wear stilettos in the woods.
You're going to sink in the mud.
Seriously.
You can't run.
No. Anyway, so Talia asks him where he got this thing, and he apparently was once a member of the Summer Court, as some kind of armorer, artificer,
yeah,
or tailor or something. And he managed to escape during the Blood Wars before the Summer Court was destroyed. And this is where we get a nice explanation of what happened during the Blood Wars. So the Blood Wars were wars between people who had more powerful blood and people who had less powerful blood.
Okay.
They banded together on opposite sides because the people who had more power in their blood held more power in the realm, and the people who had less power were rising up against that.
Yeah.
While the Blood Wars were happening, everyone in the realm assumed that Sol and his family had been killed because he was quiet for, a shady crime lord.
Yeah.
But on the day that they came together to sign a treaty to finish the wars, Sol arrived and killed everybody at once.
What red wedding on that.
Seriously.
I never watched Game of Thrones. I hope I'm getting that reference. I hope there's at least a little bit of an analogous element there. Okay.
I never read them either, but I know for sure that the red wedding was a horrifying murder.
Okay,
of tons of people at one large event.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
So I can edit all that out and sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So Zane took out every remaining member of the royal family who hadn't been killed at some other point during the wars, and he is hoarding powerful blood in order to place his family at the head of the table. He is now in charge, and nobody can do anything about it. Zane was offered the opportunity to live.
How nice of them.
Yeah, right. Because he was the last rune master. It seems like the youngest member of the rune masters, so probably the easiest to control.
Yeah.
And because the grimoire that he has currently is in Talia's possession, I believe, has spells in it that are designed to die, to lose their power when the bloodline dies. The whole bloodline couldn't be killed. Mm-hmm. So in order to keep Zane under control, Sol and his family held him down and forcibly tattooed him with a rune called the Dominion rune, which makes him entirely controlled by these people, physically and mentally. This is where we start talking about autonomy. Zane is not actually in control of his own actions sometimes because they have imprisoned him with magic. They've made him a slave.
And he has no means of, if the siren can break the curse, he has no means to break the curse, but could he even think to break the curse?
He can't.
Yeah.
No, he can't do anything.
Okay.
The rune itself keeps him from removing it from his own body, doing anything against Sol's wishes, attacking Sol or any member of his family. He is in complete control. Sol is in complete control of Zane, and it's quite horrifying. Talia is horrified. I am horrified.
I am horrified. I've said this to you many times. Like, the idea that my biggest fear in life is something affecting my mind. Like Alzheimer's, dementia, that sort of thing. Which I think this would sort of fall in line with, in terms of, and I've also talked about like control, feeling like I don't have control, and hating that I don't have control. This just seems like an offshoot of that, where it's like you don't know what's going on. And you literally have no control. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
So that is why Zane is the way that he is, basically. Because for the last however long that Sol has been in charge of the realm, he's also been in charge of Zane. And I can only imagine what that does to a person.
Nothing good.
Nothing good. So Talia is absolutely disgusted and horrified. She swears that she'll kill Sol with her bare hands if she has to. She's that fucking upset.
Yeah.
I would be too. That's just goddamn awful.
Yeah.
So once they finish this conversation, Talia finishes her wardrobe change. They're going to go up the cliff. They walk up a set of like 5 million stairs that's inside the cliff to get to the top. Talia does all of this in heels. The rest of this book happens in heels. Everyone just be aware.
I think that's an important note to make.
Seriously. Bitch does not break an ankle at any point.
Anything you hear, picture her in heels.
Seriously. So they get like halfway up. Talia's already exhausted because climbing stairs in heels is its own feat. It uses different muscles. It hurts really bad. So Zane gives her like a single drop of this revitalization potion that he carries around, and she spends the rest of the chapter acting like she's on speed. They get to the top, and Lamb starts to climb down the cliff face like a goat. You know, like one of those goats that can climb sheer cliff faces.
I can just imagine a satyr just being like, "Oh no, I got this. No, it's fine. I got this. I got this."
Yeah.
God, look at these cloven hooves. I got this.
People in your world think I'm the devil. Jesus Christ, just let me climb a cliff. So while he's going down to get these delphiniums, which he thinks are there, but he's not sure.
Oh.
Zane and Talia share this lovely moment under the stars, the 2 moons, and this like beautiful teal colored sea that they have in the Fey realm. Like their fingers touch while they're standing next to each other. And
the twin moons, Bytor and Snowdog. It's for my Rush fans out there.
I am not a Rush fan. I just like the words Bytor and Snowdog.
I might be messing that up, but let's just name these moons Bytor and Snowdog.
So Talia asks what the delphiniums are actually for. Like, what are we getting these for? And he says that with an ink that is made from their roots, he can then tattoo a rune on her that will permanently camouflage her glow so that no one will be able to see. And she won't have to get it done over and over again. It'll just be the one time.
Perfect.
He also theorizes that the reason Sol wants the delphinium ink is because it is rumored that with the right rune and that ink, you can actually alter your blood type and make yourself more powerful. This is literally the last thing that we want in the entire world, but he can't do anything to stop Sol because Sol has total control over him.
Got it. So
Talia is horrified by the idea that Sol could be able to give himself this kind of power. No one should have this kind of power, but particularly not this guy. But Zane is starting to act really weird. Like he's in a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And he fights. Every single movement is like a battle.
Mm-hmm.
To just be able to, what he does is he hands her a rock wrapped in a piece of paper. And he tells her that as soon as Lamb gets back to the top with the delphiniums, which he has called up and said they are there, so he's coming back up with them.
We have eyes on delphiniums.
Eyes on the delphiniums.
All right.
Talia is to do exactly this. Grab the flowers before Zane can reach them. Put her blood on the rock, which is a way rock. And think of his office in the Fey realm so that she can be immediately transported there. Run as fast as she can away from him, as far away and as fast as she can. And then when she's far enough away to use that way rock. And then to use the instructions that are printed on the paper to make the delphinium ink and tattoo herself before he has a chance to get back to her.
So it sounds like Sol can even like use his eyes. I mean, how does, I mean, it's that, but it sounds like Zane is just trying to help her. It's going against his programming.
Yes.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Or is Sol like somehow able to like, mind meld and realize where he is?
No. He's just by not getting the ingredients that he has been told to get by Sol, he is breaking his own programming.
Yeah. Okay. I get it now.
If he gets to them first, mission complete. So she has to take these flowers before Zane can run, use this rock to get back to his office, then get back through the magic filing cabinet back to the human world office, make this ink for herself and tattoo herself. He says she's got about 48 hours before Salen comes back to get the finished product. And once she's there, they're done. So
game over, man.
Game over, man. Game over. So she has to go fast.
Yeah.
In telling her all of this, he has injured himself internally, just giving her these instructions because they go against his programming from Soul. So he starts like bleeding from the mouth.
That's fucked up.
It's fucked up. He doubles over in pain, but he manages to say that the ink from the flower can also be used to break the Dominion rune. So when he comes back, she can do literally anything she needs to get the rune onto his body.
Mm-hmm.
Because it will be seemingly against his wishes. Because destroying the Dominion rune or overriding it also goes against the Dominion rune.
Yeah.
So she's going to have to do whatever she can. But he gives her early consent to do whatever she needs to do to get him fixed. Right?
Pre-consent. It's like you're
Pre-consent.
You're
yes.
pre-approved for consent.
Your consent application has been approved.
Shit's going to get weird, so just trust me. You can do whatever you got to do.
So he cups her face and he kisses her forehead gently, and then he hands her biscuit and he tells her that when Lamb gets to the top, she just has to run. Like there's nothing else that he can do for her now. I just now realized that he kisses her with a bloody mouth, which is gross.
Not as gross as telling her to run in heels.
Yeah, right? So she tells him that she cares about him very much, and he says the same. And they have this lovely little moment under the double moons. But then Lamb reaches the top. He's got the delphiniums in his mouth, and she snatches them and bolts. And Zane starts a fight with Lamb.
Okay.
He starts brawling with the satyr as Talia and Biscuit are leaving.
Okay.
Talia and Biscuit run for like 10 minutes straight before her poor asthmatic lungs give up.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, again, the heels. I can't run in heels. I would have taken my shoes off. After a while, she does indeed take her shoes off while she walks.
Thank goodness.
And Biscuit and her are making their way through the forest. It's dark. It's terrifying. She can't touch anything. So she's like, trying to be very controlled and quiet in her movements. Biscuit is sort of flying overhead to keep watch.
Yep.
They make it all the way to the nearest waypoint. Biscuit leads her back to the waypoint that they were supposed to land at before she got sidetracked. Mm-hmm. But before they can depart, to use the waystone, before they can depart, there are suddenly 3 people coming up the same path, dragging something behind them. So Biscuit tells her to hide. So she hides behind a bush. And when she asks what they are, he says, "Vampire. Vampire." And it takes her several seconds to realize that they are vampires.
Oh God, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I didn't get it right away. I just was like, vampire. What the fuck's a vampire, you weird bird?
I'm again. Props. I love it when writers are just like lenient. Like it's the Fey realm. We've got Kraken. We've got sirens. We've got vampires.
Come on down.
Exactly.
3 popsicles for the kids.
Exit 327 off the Beltway, the Fey realm. I just love that there's no like sticking to one particular convention. It's just if it's a creature of some level of mythicality or whatever, it's in the Fey realm.
Hell yeah, it is. So these vampires are walking up to the waypoint. They are also going to fast travel with their package that they're dragging behind them is a body. But before they can activate, like Talia thinks she's going to get away clean here, but before they can activate it, a banshee scream once again cuts through the forest.
So some bad shit's about to happen.
Yes.
Okay.
And once again, she's deafened by the sound of 500 freight trains barreling down on her with all of their whistles blaring at once. This sound is enough to wake up this unconscious body that they have been dragging through the forest. It's another kind of fae that they have probably been shopping for, like grocery shopping.
Right? Come on, man.
And it starts to run away. The vampires chase after it. They take it down right in front of the bush where Talia and Biscuit are hiding.
No.
So Talia has to watch as they eat this thing.
Yeah.
Suck it dry until it's dead. And she is begging Biscuit to bite her because she doesn't have any other way Or no, she does. She has a knife in her hand.
She has the knife, yeah.
She can't bring herself to cut herself.
That's fair.
So she's begging Biscuit to bite her so that she can get her blood onto this waystone and get the fuck out. But Biscuit is terrified. He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to bring any attention to them because the vampires, through description, and I believe Talia also sort of makes a guess at this in her mind, are malnourished. Mm-hmm. They're starving, so they'll definitely kill her.
Yeah.
And she's glowing. She's starting to glow, like her fingers or her fingertips are all glowy and stuff. So they will definitely kill her. And she's begging for Biscuit to bite her, but he won't. And then the vampires realize she's behind the bush because they have just drunk the blood of a manipulator type blood creature.
Yep.
And now they have that power for a little while. And because Biscuit is a magical creature, he's not a creature of his own devising, they can use him now. They can manipulate Biscuit however they want. So one of them goes, yes, bite her. And so Biscuit bites her and then immediately flies over to the vampires who are in control of him now. Mm-hmm. And Talia can't get him to come back. They see that her blood is glowing, so they want to eat her.
Of course.
She comes out from behind the bush and she's like, fucking bring it on, I guess. Then she's got a knife in one hand and one of the vampires rushes her. She dodges to the side. It goes face first into this bush. And you remember how I said that some plants were acidic?
Oh, yeah.
It melts its face off.
Fuck yes. This book is fucking metal.
As fuck.
I love it.
It's so good. So the second vampire comes after her and she has she ducks and just sticks her arm in the air with the knife and stabs it right in the gut. And because she perforated its stomach, it's losing the blood it just drank. So it starts scooping the blood back into its own mouth. I know. It's oh, gross. So that one is waylaid and no longer interested in attacking her because it's losing its meal.
No shit. Imagine.
I know.
Oh god. It's like he's trying to it's like a reverse bailing a boat, I guess, or something.
I'm trying to get the water back in the boat.
Yeah.
So the third vampire is coming for her. She can't get they've thrown Biscuit to the ground. He's not moving. She can't get Biscuit to pay any attention to her, but she needs him to come with her. She's not going to leave him behind. So she's trying to figure out what to do, and she realizes that in one of her pockets she still has an almond. So she grabs the almond out of her pocket and goes, Biscuit, come get the almond. That breaks him out of his spell.
Yeah.
He flies to her hand, eats her almond, which is also covered in her blood.
Yeah.
She activates the waystone. She is lifted 20 feet into the air in this pillar of light, Close Encounters style pillar of light. They disappear and they reappear in Zane's office. Unfortunately, the third vampire was close enough to them at the time that it stowed away inside that beam and is also in Zane's Fae office.
Great. And once you get one vampire, it's over.
If you got one, if you see one, you've got 1,000.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like roaches. So there's nothing Talia can do. This vampire is barreling down on her to kill her, and the only thing left to do, Biscuit dives in front of her and lights up in a gigantic, brilliant rainbow flame and looks over at her and says goodbye and burns himself along with the vampire in order to save Talia's life.
I'm not going to be sad.
I'm crying.
I'm not going to be sad.
I'm so upset about the bird.
I'm not going to be sad because Rachel would never do that to me. We know each other. We
know
don't.
Each other so well.
We don't.
No.
We don't know each other at all. But for those of you who haven't been married to me for almost 11 years and together with me for 15, any movies, anything animals in peril, fuck out of here. I don't want it. I don't need it. I can't do it. We went and saw War Horse in New York. And
the big horse puppets were in danger, and that was enough.
That was enough.
Yeah.
The movie, the film version of it was a goddamn nightmare. But pour one out for Biscus, and I just hope that he comes back later in the Gilded Blood series.
Yeah. So the vampire is dead. Biscuit is a pile of ash on the ground. Talia mourns him, and then she remembers that part of him is Zane.
Exactly.
Zane gave him a piece of his soul in order to make him truly his friend. And so Zane is in incredible pain right now as well. So she mourns for that as well. She just lays on the ground and weeps for like an hour. And then she decides that she's not going to leave him behind. So she gathers up all of his ashes and puts them in a box, in a little silver box that she finds in Zane's office. And she takes him back through the portal and she steels herself. She says she does exactly the same thing she had to do when her father passed away, and she had to get through that too. She steels herself and immediately she starts making this ink. She follows the recipe exactly as Zane wrote it down. And while it's cooking, she listens to the increasingly manic voicemails that her mother's been leaving her because she's been gone.
Oh no.
She's like losing her mind. She's threatening all kinds of crazy shit. But she doesn't call her back because she's busy.
Of course.
For once, Talia does not call her mother. At one point, the ink needs to boil for like 90 minutes, so she takes a nap. I think this is probably the first sleep she's had in quite a while, after the drunken sleep in the satyr's house and then climbing the stairs and being on the cliff. She finally gets this ink done, and she's sobbing hysterically as she's tattooing her own body. But yeah, so she's absolutely terrified of needles, but she does it anyway. But right before she has one stroke left, and right before she gets done, she runs out of ink in like the little. It's we've been tattooed by those wireless ones that just have the little ink cartridge in them. So she goes to get more, but then the shop bell rings. Salen is now inside the shop. She was flying overhead because apparently she can fly.
Must be fucking nice.
Yes. And she saw that the lights were on inside of Zane's shop.
I was flying.
I know.
And I saw the lights were on. I was hovering. I was doing a thing that no human or human appearing creature should be able to do. And I just saw the lights, which is such a Midwestern thing, I feel like.
Yes, it really is.
But anyway.
So Talia can't hide what she's been doing. There's obviously a chemistry set out on the counter, but she thinks that she sneakily hides the ink, the finished ink. Salen thinks that she's just started the process because she's some kind of intern. Salen has absolutely zero respect for her. But because she's glowing, Salen wants to know what that's all about. So she kisses her. And this kiss has like a drugging effect. And Talia realizes this is what Salen has been doing to Zane every single time she kisses him. She has been taking advantage of him by chemically inducing consent that is not there.
Right.
It's quite horrifying.
Which then could, really explain why Zane was very unhappy about being kissed while he was unconscious.
Yeah. All of Zane's stuff is explained when we realize that he has been taken advantage of by a person who has power over him for a very long time because he can't say no to her.
Yeah. Literally.
Literally, he can't. Talia manages to fight off, like once she realizes what's happening, she's so disgusted and horrified that she manages to fight Salen off of her, and she starts screaming at her about how she's gonna get back at her for what happened to Zane. She's gonna get back at her for what she just tried to do to herself, and she grabs her by the wrists and she's holding her and pushing her around and screaming, and she's looking at her arms, which are all covered in these beautiful this climbing rose tattoo that she's got, and inside the roses there are little runes that Zane has tattooed onto her, and they are fading and they are reappearing on Talia's body.
Interesting.
Yes. So Talia's stealing the magic right out of Salen's skin.
Good for her.
Salen has called Zane back to the human realm. She's got like a rune on her wrist so she can communicate with Zane through long distances. It's like the Dominion runes receiver or something. So while she's fighting and stealing these runes, Zane comes back, and Zane is fully like blank slate man right now.
Yep.
Salen is in charge of him. And she basically tells her that what they're going to do is they are going to pretend that Zane has been keeping Talia as a gift for Soul. And once they finish the ink, she says they have 12 hours to complete the ink, and then she's going to bring Soul, and they are going to give him the ink, and they are going to give him Talia. And Zane can't say no to this. So she starts to leave, and then she goes, oh, Zane, grab what she was trying to hide from me when I first showed up. And Zane goes and grabs the finished bottle of ink. Change of plan. She's going to go get Saul immediately. And Saul's reign of terror will be complete. But through gritted teeth, Zane manages to tell her that one of the runes that she stole is a shape-shifting rune that she can use to change her body or the body of any person around her into any animal. So Talia turns Salen into a rat and traps her in a Pyrex.
That is the most clever shit
Yes.
I've ever heard.
She cuts a hole in the lid so she doesn't
Well, yeah. You don't want to
suffocate her.
Yeah.
But
cut a hole in it, throw some peanut butter in there.
Yeah. Now that she's trapped inside this bowl, Talia has time to work on the part of the plan that Zane is no longer going to be okay with, the part where she has to get him to a safe place and do whatever she has to tattoo this change of or this curse breaking rune on him. To do this, what she does is she quickly memorizes a chaining rune from the book, and then she seduces the fucking shit out of him.
Yes, girl.
Yes. And she thinks that she can do this because she has stolen some of Salen's succubus powers. So she's like slowly undoing her corset and letting her titties pop out and like pushing him around and telling him that she's not going to take no for an answer. And she eventually gets him, they like this wild makeout session. She gets him to the tattoo bench and gets on top of him and dry humps him in the most sexy thing. Like this scene, again, hot as fuck. Rachel, write me a sex scene, please, for the love of God. I'm sure if I read the second book, I will finally get this.
Oh.
These people need to have sex for the love of God. And while she's like this close to orgasm, she's drawing this rune on the side of the tattoo bench in Sharpie. She cuts her finger. I can't even remember how she does it at that point, on a nail or something. She like exposed nail and puts it on there, and Zane is chained to the chair. Yeah. Unfortunately, the rune is smudged slightly and he manages to break free. She goes to get the ink. She's going to tattoo him. Everything's going to be fine. But he reaches up and he starts strangling her. And she thinks she's going to die. So here she is, corset undone, 3/4 of the way to orgasm, mussed and fussed. This guy is trying to murder, shirtless man trapped on a table is trying to murder her. And she looks up when somebody knocks on the door, and who is outside the shop? Dee Dee Ketzenberg.
Oh, dear God.
Sees her daughter in this position and starts screaming like a banshee.
Oh. What? Did not see that coming.
Neither did I. So she screams like a banshee. She shatters every bit of glass, including the bottle of ink. And then she sends one particular scream right at Zane and knocks him unconscious. And Talia's like, what the fuck, Mom? Sorry, that was probably really loud.
It was, and you're a very animated talker, so a lot of times your mouth is further away from the mic.
Sorry, we're gonna have to get me like a lapel mic or something.
You're gonna have to just do like Ludovico technique, just like strap your head down so you can't move.
Please don't do that. So Talia's grilling her mother. Her mother is grilling her right back. Eventually, they get things calm. And her mom, starts bitching about the fact that this very expensive locket that her and her late husband bought for their daughter is no longer working. No more answers beyond that. But Dee Dee knew the whole time.
Okay.
And B, she says, this is the greatest explanation for anxiety disorder I've ever heard, by the way. She says she can't predict death like their Bubba could. Yeah. But she can see all the bad things that may happen. And that's why she's so protective of her daughter. Yeah. Dee Dee, sweetie, that's just anxiety disorder.
That's just parenthood.
Yeah, that really is just parenthood
for me. Oh my God.
But before much more can happen, Roy sticks his head in.
Roy!
Because Roy came to ask a couple of questions about this living snake that lives on his back.
Yes, for those of you who might not remember Roy from the first episode, or from part 1 of this episode, he was the guy who had the snake tattooed on him with a rattle and the red eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
giant cobra with red eyes and a rattle.
Cobrattler.
Cobrattler. That's a good one.
Thanks, Sean, for that one.
Yeah. So Roy sticks his head in. He's like, I need to ask a couple of questions.
Did I come at a bad time?
And Rat Salen starts scuttling across the floor. And Dee Dee's like, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. And Roy's like, don't worry, I got this. Hey, Monty. He has named the snake on his back Monty.
Oh, no.
After Monty Python, of course. God bless Roy. He named the Cobra Rattler after a python.
Yeah, good enough.
And Monty eats Salen.
I was going to say, like, put a little peanut butter in there and hope she has a peanut allergy,
Seriously.
but that's more effective.
No. She gets eaten by this giant snake.
Even better.
Then Roy calls the snake back into his butt.
So it seems like
fucking butt cobra.
Roy's adjusted to having a butt cobra.
Yeah, he's doing just fine. And Talia is like, I have to finish what I'm doing with Zane. Roy offers to go to the hardware store to get plywood to cover the windows. So he's out of the way for a little while. She sends her mom out front to just play guard. And she realizes she still has the bottle of Kraken ink that the siren left on the shore. And she definitely has her own blood.
How does she, where was the Kraken ink that it didn't break, but everything else broke, including the vial of...
That's a very good question, and I don't know the answer.
All right, I'm just curious.
Thank you very much. I don't know if the vials that the siren had were made of glass.
No, that's a good point. I'm not trying to shoot holes in anything here. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Maybe it's because it was in her pocket.
Yeah.
I don't know. So she fixes the chaining rune that's under Zane.
Okay.
On the chair. He is now fully trapped. His eyes are glowing red. He is no longer himself at all. She tells him that this is what he wants. This is what he told her to do. But he's fighting her every step of the way. He threatens to kill her. He threatens to hurt her family. Then he turns on the full incubus charm. And she has to resist that while she's mixing up Kraken ink and her own blood. The fucking health department would be horrified to learn that she's tattooing people with her own blood.
Yeah.
And she starts tattooing Zane, and she eventually does tattoo this unbinding rune on him, and he starts having a seizure, and she thinks that he's going to die. So she like climbs on top of him and is holding him, and she's telling him that she loves him because she doesn't want him to die without knowing that.
Yeah.
And he eventually stops, and there are now cops outside because the entire building, all of the glass exploded out of the building. Dee Dee's doing her best Jewish mothering by just keeping them distracted and talking a lot.
Yeah.
And Zane wakes up. He is fine. And to test whether or not the Dominion rune is actually broken, he tells her to ask him if he loves her. And so she does. And he says, more than anything in the two realms.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. So the one-sided comment, Talia realizes, is not that she loved him and he didn't love her. It's because he could not love her as long as he was under Soul's control. But that is broken now. Salen is gone. He is free, and he has Talia. And Talia, he says, "Okay, get me out of this chaining rune. It's a brilliant rune, but I need to go talk to the cops and get them off of my property." But remember how I said there was a running theme that Talia never remembers to stock the shop? They're all out of rubbing alcohol. And he's stuck on the chair.
But that shit's hard to find.
It really is. Right now it is.
Yeah.
Every time you send me to the store because we need more rubbing alcohol for cleaning, I can't find it.
Yeah.
So she sends her mom off to the store to get a bottle for her, and Zane deals with the cops while shirtless and chained to a table. I don't know. She didn't cover that part.
Yeah, it's okay. No, he turned down the incubus charm.
Yeah. After Zane is up from the chair, he fixes Roy's tattoo by like discreetly placing some runes, pretending that they're just like touching it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And Monty is no longer a blood creation. Monty is now just a big tattoo on Roy's back. And then he tattoos a little rune on him to make him forget the last few days. So no more Roy. Roy is being sent home, probably very confused.
But again, what if Roy found out some really important shit? Like if he was just like, what if Roy has a really good memory and doesn't write stuff down and is good about it, and then he misses an important appointment that he learned about in those couple of days? You can't just go wiping people's memory.
Well, I guess you can if you accidentally tattoo a living cobra on their back.
I guess that could be considered an extenuating circumstance.
I think you can miss the dentist for this.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So Talia gets her mom to leave, but not before she voluntells Zane that he's coming to dinner that night. She's making brisket. Of course she is.
Yes.
And Zane completes Talia's tattoo. How, you ask? The bottle of ink was destroyed because she didn't run out of ink. The needle was just clogged, and she forgot that that's a common problem with the tools that they use. So he just cleans it out and finishes it off for her, and her glow goes away, and she is now fine and perfectly camouflaged from anyone who may want to take advantage of her special blood. Yeah. She immediately apologizes for having to use her stolen succubus powers to seduce him into getting onto that table. And he just starts laughing at her. He says, "You can't steal succubus powers. It turns out you're just really good at seducing when you want to be, you sex kitten."
You didn't need those magical succubus powers. The
magic was inside you all along. The magic to get the guy who's in love with you to lay down underneath you was always inside of you.
I mean, that is a very common ploy. Is just, convince somebody that. Anyway, I'm not going to play psychologist here.
He tells her that now that she is camouflaged and he is free, he's going to go back to the Fey realm to finish his business with Soul, and she's going to stay behind. And she berates him. She's like, no fucking way am I staying behind after all of this shit.
Yeah, right?
She has bones to pick with Soul anyway, on behalf of Zane for what he did to her, to Zane all those years.
And Soul's probably going to have something to say about the death of his daughter.
Yes. And while they're having this conversation, they go back to Zane's office, and he sees the box that is full of Biscuit's ashes. Yeah. And he opens it up, and inside he finds an egg. Because Talia cried her soul out when he died. She gave Biscuit a little bit of her soul too. And because she gathered his ashes with her own bloody hands with her incredible magic blood, he's not just a parrot anymore. He's a phoenix now.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't super concerned, because I mean, any bird that goes up in flames, I've played enough video games and read enough, high fantasy to know that's a phoenix.
Yeah, he's a phoenix. So there is an egg. Biscuit will be reborn, but not until book 2. Because that is the end of our story.
Oh,
inked by Rachel Rener.
God damn it!
In the books,
I know that you expressed some concerns. Like when you were reading the book, you're like, this is not that smutty.
Yeah.
We came so hot out of the gates with a Lady of Rooksgrave Manor in Scaly Monsters Who Eat Ass and whatnot.
Yeah.
That we had a bit of concern about this, and there wasn't as much smut in this book, but it was goddamn entertaining. It was entertaining to hear you tell it, to explain it, and then that third act.
Oh God, yeah, kicked shit up a notch, and then I had to start speeding through it because I was taking too much time in the second act. But
no, that's okay. It was. There we go. It was great. I loved it. I am thrilled that you settled on this book.
Yeah.
And decided to go with it. So thank you very much for that, and thank you, Rachel Rener, for the amazing book. That was magnificent. I look forward to, at some point. Yeah. Even if you just read it for grins.
Yeah. And tell you about it.
And tell me about it. I look forward to it. Maybe that'll be my entry point into these books, is reading it myself.
Yeah. I think you could if you wanted to, or I'll just tell them to you. Whatever. I did get a recommendation for a book today while I got back on TikTok, because we have our TikTok now, and I was trying to futz with our algorithms a little bit, for a hockey romance that I think I'm going to read for you and tell you about. So
I love it. It's my second favorite sport.
Yes.
I mean, I was practically born on skates. I was born in Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that far. We were not born that far from Canada.
No, an hour away.
Yep. Drive an hour to the east, you end up in Canada, where everyone plays hockey.
Yeah, legally.
They have to. It's the law.
Yeah.
But speaking of your favorite sports, your first favorite sport
Yeah.
is baseball.
That's
and
right.
next week, we are going to have special guest Matt Coggins, your co-host from Put Me in Coach, the other podcast that you make about baseball, on the show. And I am going to read you guys a baseball-themed smut spectacular called The Pitcher's Assistant by Jessa Kane. This is not the first time I've read this book. It will be the second time. It's a novella, so it's a lot shorter. It'll be a little quicker, and it's fucking filthy. And you guys are going to get, your first introduction to the darker side of book boyfriends.
Oh boy.
They're not all wholesome, sweet babies.
No. And it's been fun. It's been fun watching you prep for this because you're asking questions about baseball, but you're trying to ask them in a way that won't potentially give away anything in the book.
Yeah. There's not a lot of baseball in the book, so I'm trying to keep all of that in a nice little pocket to pull out and actually talk to you guys about baseball.
But you don't feel like you have to like get on our level or anything. We're just a couple of schmucks who...
I'm not going to be on your level. I'm
No.
not, but...
I'm taller than you.
Not by much.
Not by much.
But I've listened to your podcast. I have not absorbed anything that you've said about stats and shit like that. It's just not my thing.
I love it. I love it. I listen because I love you and I like Matt and I'm interested in the things that you like, but I don't retain it.
I don't. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I don't.
It's
I don't.
fine. No, it's totally
I've
okay.
retained some stuff. I retained all that shit that you said about owners and collusion because that was interesting to me.
I figured
but
it would be.
Just nothing about like baseball.
No, that's totally fine. Thank you all so much for joining us again this week. It has been an absolute blast. Thank you to Rachel Rener for writing this book.
Yes.
And retroactively, I'd like to thank all the authors for writing these books. This is the first time I've said it, but this is the one that has appealed to me the most, so I really enjoy that. You can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, and now on TikTok. We actually have a couple videos up. All of those places you can find us just at Cheap Smut. The music that we use, courtesy of the Free Music Archives, comes from Mackay Beats. It is called Nostalgia. For all of your free music needs, go to freemusicarchive.com. Is there anything I'm missing?
I don't think so, my love. I think you covered all of the big stuff.
All right. Well, send us home.
All right. Remember, everybody, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
All right. I'm going to go play video games now.
Me too.
Bye-bye.